What is glamour? Frailty. What is desire? Diamonds. They say a life lived without passion is hardly worth living.
Ma'am? Ma'am? Ma'am?
Dang, this one made me feel all special.
To win the race, I can't even explain how, in fact, I'm getting goosebumps right now talking about it. No matter where you go, you're an Indy 500 winner. The only way to be successful in racing is to stay on top of the technical edge, and we've done that with our dealership. So a lot of the technology in our service department and sales processes, everything is the very latest. That gives you an edge. That's being competitive in the car business. You can take it any way you want, but that's the truth.
Folks, there's no other way but to be all in. Either he's Lord of all or he is not Lord at all. And you can experience the real and authentic, true life change that only God can provide to humanity. See, when we truly encounter Jesus and purpose to know him and follow his teachings, hashtag life change will occur.
Don't sacrifice quality and flavor when you're in a hurry. Golden Pride offers ribs, fried chicken, green and red chili, breakfast burritos, and Frontier Cinnabons. 4 great locations, or visit us online at goldenpride@abq.com. Golden Pride Barbecue Chicken and Ribs, proud supporter of ProView Sports Network.
Good morning, everybody. Welcome to Red Menace TV here on ProView Networks. Leroy Lucero along with Michael Carlisle. How was your trip to South Bend, Indiana?
Good.
The Mecca. Can you say Mecca of college football?
I don't
Even
think
though it's
I don't think it's 100% accurate, but you can say it.
Yeah, but I mean, because you've got
It's
they're
certainly
Catholic. It's a Catholic university.
Oh well, yeah.
and Mecca-
So if it's Catholic, then yeah, of course.
Well,
it's
I mean, no. What
football.
I'm saying is, it's a Catholic university, and Mecca is obviously the
Sure.
home of the Muslim faith. So it's kind of like conflict there, I guess. I don't know. How was it though?
Look at you.
Yeah.
It was
I'm
good.
learning things. What can I say? College is working out for me in a weird sort of way.
That is weird. The trip was good.
Yeah.
The game didn't turn out the way.
Now I saw something
little
scarier
things.
than the game.
Okay.
I looked on your Twitter feed at Real Mike Carlisle.
Yeah.
And there's a Michael Carlisle selfie of a gentleman wearing a suit and a tie. A jacket and a tie. I'd never seen that before.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm used to you coming in.
I gotta look good as I travel the country.
I'm used to you coming in like this. You're true to like most television shows. You wear just your underwear down low and
Well,
a shirt.
that's not true. But what most people don't know is, I am wearing shorts and
Yeah.
I look good pretty good up top,
Yeah,
decent
yeah.
up top.
Yeah.
But raggedy shorts and then
But I
down
mean, you
low.
had like that big 1970s tie on and the blazer.
1970s tie.
Did you have like the leather? Did you have the leather patches on?
Oh, good Lord, no.
No, that's 1970s to the max, right?
Sure.
It's like Love Boat, waiting for Charo to come and hook up in the promenade deck or whatever. Do you remember Love Boat?
Vaguely.
Okay, all right. No, I was like, who is this guy? If it wasn't for the beard, I wouldn't have recognized you.
Like I said, I got to look good as I travel the country.
Well, you definitely pulled it off. How's that?
As good as I can look. I
Yeah,
mean,
okay,
let's
well-
be honest. There are certain limitations that the Lord thrust upon me, but as best I can, I try to look good. When we're
Well,
on the road.
Clint Eastwood did say in one of his movies, "A man must know his limitations."
Oh, and
Michael
I
Carlisle
am
knows
very
his.
limited.
Okay,
Very limited.
awesome. Well, I'll tell you what, that was great. That picture looked a lot better than the way the Lobos. Well, let's talk about this game
Let's talk about it.
because I think the Lobos defensively looked pretty decent in the first quarter. I mean, was that Notre Dame wasn't able to establish anything, or was it the Lobos were disruptive, or a combination of both?
I think it's what you see a lot of times when the Notre Dames of the world, the Alabamas of the world for Aggie fans play the New Mexicos, the New Mexico States, and things like that. You know, for a little while you can hang tough, and we saw that with the Lobos in Wisconsin a year ago. The fact of the matter is, when you're playing teams that are that much deeper and frankly that much more talented than you, it's just a matter of time before things open up. And you saw, you know, it was 7-0 after the first quarter. Notre Dame goes out and scores 31 points in the second quarter. You know, so it's boom, just like that. Things, you know, can turn on a dime, and unfortunately, that's what happened for the Lobos on Saturday.
So the adrenaline rush, I think, was there at first. I think
Sure.
I mean, there's a drop off in talent, but I think you can overcome that with the adrenaline and the excitement and that sort of thing. And I think that's what the Lobo did. But I think the one play, I can't remember the young man's name. He caught was it a 60-yard touchdown where he basically broke 5 tackles and
Oh yeah,
rumbled
that
into the
was a
end
long
zone.
one.
Yeah.
It was 65. It was Javon McKinney.
Okay, thank you. I mean, that was just, I mean, that was like the, I don't know, straw that broke the wolf's back. I have no idea what you
The
could
Wolf's
say there
back.
because,
I see what you
I
did
mean,
there.
he smashed like what, 5 Lobos on the way into the end zone?
When they showed the replay in the stadium,
Yeah.
the entire, honest to God, the entire stadium counted every missed tackle,
Oh, right.
every juke where, he left some Lobo player laying. It was, yeah.
And it wasn't like he was like shifty. I mean, it was just like lumbering, stiff arm, break a tackle, kind of cut back the other way, break 2 more tackles,
Sure.
and walk into the end zone. Yeah, I mean, it was brutal. And I thought that was that signified, like, to me, the difference in talent.
Sure. Frankly, the game went how most people thought it was going to go. Now,
Yeah.
I know I came on here last week and said, look, I think there's a way the Lobos can keep it under the 35.5, which is what the spread was at the time. Obviously, that didn't happen. To do that, though, they were going to have to do something they don't want to do with the offense, which is run the ball, eat clock, well, like old school Davey tenure here.
Which would have been good,
Well,
I think.
right. But do you want to do that just for the sake of trying to keep this game close that you may not keep close anyway? Or do you want to go out and try to run your offense the way you plan on running it the other 10 games of the season and hopefully try to get better doing it that way so that you're a better team down the stretch?
So a lot of talk, a lot of thought, and we've talked about this for a few years now, not just once they've switched the offense, but now that they've kind of switched the offense.
Oh, it's switched.
Two games into it. Yeah.
There's no kinda. Yeah.
I still prefer the running game that the Lobos had, and it seems like they have a couple of running backs that might be able to be the type that can home run hit. I thought
who would those be?
I would think Bryson Carroll could be that guy, and I think Contrell Moran can be that guy as well.
And look, you may well be right, but I think Coach Davey at his weekly press conference referred to it as, it wasn't fool's gold, but it was somewhere along those lines. Yeah, look, Bryson Carroll ran 6 times for 69 yards.
Sure.
He got 47 of those on one run. And again,
against Notre Dame.
Right, well, sure.
Okay.
And I'm not knocking him at all.
Right.
Moran, 5 carries, 16 yards.
So I'm just
again,
looking at it as the way they hit the hole, and that's all I'm talking about. And then you look at the quarterback situation, which, I mean, I think Davey kind of jokingly said that we were going to do that or people assumed that they were going to do that 4 quarterback rotation or whatever. We're there already.
Which, by the way, he never actually said.
I know. That's why I said assumed.
Right.
It was just, I mean, watching Sharon Jones, that was rough.
It was rough.
Tavaka came in. I guess he's starting against the Aggies.
He is.
I mean, I don't want to say bad things, but he hasn't shown that he can last 2 weeks into a season so far.
Right, but what he has shown is he's the best quarterback on the roster, according to Coach Davey. He had won the job coming out of spring.
Yeah.
The only reason he didn't start the season as a starting quarterback is
Because of
because
his
he misses
grandfather.
so much time
Right.
in the fall.
And we talked about
Right,
that.
sure. You're right, though. He wasn't able to stay healthy last year. Will he be able to this year? The Lobos certainly hope so. But, all right, so who would you prefer they start
I don't know.
quarterback this week?
I really don't know.
Exactly.
And that's the thing. That's why I'm saying I kind of miss that running game, because the running game you have, and the Lobos do have a ton of I think they have home run hitters, they have power runners, they have guys that can run the ball. I don't know if they have guys that can throw the ball on a regular basis, on a consistent basis.
I don't know that they have any home run hitters.
Well,
running
I
the
think
ball.
they do. I think they do. I think Bryson Carroll is good. I think Kentrell Moran is good. I'd like to see more vigilant. I'd like to see those guys get the ball more. They're the potential future of this program. I mean, they're young.
Well, hold on. You just named off like 3 or 4 guys there that you want to see get the ball. For all that, and you just brought it up, the whole rotating 4 quarterback things, which again he didn't say. Nobody wants to rotate 3 and 4 different guys splitting.
But
the carries out
they've
of the
done that.
backfield.
Davey did that before when he was running that option. There was tons of
No, you always had your one guy. That's from the running game perspective. That's what they lack right now. They were hoping it was Amari Davis. He had a good first game.
He did.
Didn't have a good second game, honestly, though.
Did he get
very
the
few people-
opportunity, though, as much as
He had more carries than anybody else.
Did he?
Yeah.
I mean, he had more carries, but do you think he had the opportunity to be super? And then, like you mentioned, Notre Dame. I don't know.
Here's the other. This is last Saturday's game. It is what it is.
Yeah, I'm with you.
I don't know that I would get too down about it.
No, I'm not.
Certainly, all right, you can use the same Houston State game for a better gauge. Certainly, this game with the Aggies and then at Liberty, as you get ready to head into conference play, those are more of what you can judge what this team is or isn't and what it could be. Again, you can be disappointed and upset if you want that the Lobos lost 66-14 at Notre Dame. What did you expect?
Yeah, no, I can't argue with you on that.
I mean, look, certainly.
I mean, everyone I talk to is like, oh, they're playing Notre Dame, they're going to get killed.
Right.
It's like, yeah, okay.
Certainly you tune in, you hope for the best, but realistically, they weren't going to beat Notre Dame.
I mean, there is the idea that they continue to battle into the fourth quarter. I thought that was kind of cool. That's something that you could possibly, not possibly, that's something you can build upon, is the fact that they didn't roll over on their coach or roll over on each other. So that's something that I think is a positive that comes out of that game. We'll see what happens now. They play the Aggies once again. Bob Davie will not be on the sideline.
Right. He said at his weekly media luncheon this week that, assuming all goes well this week, that he hopes to be back on the sidelines for the Liberty game next week, but Saga Tuatele will be the acting head coach again this week. And Davey made it a point. I don't want to be a distraction. I don't want to try to come back and then have a setback and, all right, I'm back. Now it's Saga again. Now I'm back. Oh, no, wait, here's Saga again. When he comes back, he wants to be back, and he wants to make sure he's 100%.
Well, that's always the issue with, what are they, serious medical conditions? Is that
Sure.
Is that the official diagnosis?
Serious medical condition, yes.
Yes. That's the problem with serious medical conditions, which I had one too, and or I'm assuming that I had the same sort of serious.
You know what
medical
happens when you
condition.
assume?
Yeah. Well, I'm not gonna.
You're
say
making
I'm
an
wrong,
arse out of the
but
both of us.
Let's just put it this way: 2 weeks is a long way, and you never really go back to where you were. So I don't, most people. But so he's not going to be there. I think the Lobos. You said Tavaka Tuioti, who has shown he can throw the ball a little bit.
So, yeah. For what they want to do, he probably does everything overall the best. I think you saw with Hughes in week 1, who, by the way, is done for the season.
Yeah, he's
going to have surgery on his shoulder.
That's
this
a
week.
guy I really wanted to start.
Sure. But, can pass, but the option aspect of it, I don't know that was his forte. Sharon is a good running quarterback. I don't think he's necessarily a good passing quarterback. I think Tuioti, you need to take that?
No.
You sure? Okay.
Yeah. I just wanted to see if it was breaking news.
You
never know. There
All
could
right.
be breaking
Right.
news. Bob Davie decides to be on the sidelines. You never know.
Well, that's not going to happen this week.
You
But,
never know. That's
no.
why you look.
Oh, here's why I do know.
Okay.
Because he said that yesterday at his weekly press conference.
Yeah, but it could have changed today. The doctors
That's
could
not
have
going to
released
change.
it.
That's not going to change. Not for this week. But I think Tuioti is the most well-rounded of the quarterbacks. And, look, again, it is a big question mark. Can he stay healthy? He certainly didn't last year. You hope he can now because he probably gives you the best chance to win.
Well, hopefully the offensive line can keep him
Sure.
keep the Aggie defenders off of him. The running game has to be established at some point, I would think.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, yes, I appreciate and I understand how people want to throw the ball more. And we've had this argument. Let's see. Davey, Loxley, the argument wasn't there. Rocky, the argument was there. Franchione, I'm trying to remember if that argument was there as much. Not as much. but definitely Rocky and Davey. That argument's always been there.
Well, look, you can pine for the days of Franchione all you want.
Days of yore.
The bottom line is, for better or for worse, this is the offense that you hope they can figure it out and get it going. But again, I thought the offense looked good against Sam Houston State. Now, the defense gave up a lot of yards.
Yeah.
The offense is a work in progress. I wouldn't get too hung up on what happened this past Saturday with Notre Dame. Let's see what happens this week against the Aggies and moving forward, because that's a much more accurate way to judge this team than what happened in South Bend. I mean, let's be honest.
Real quick before we go on break, pressure, Lobos, Aggies, or both? Who has the most pressure right now, you think?
The Aggies got to get a win.
So do the Lobos.
Well,
they don't want to be
hold
losing.
on. But the Lobos have a win. The Aggies do not.
Okay.
Look, of course, there's pressure on both teams. It's a huge rivalry game. I think if you're the Lobos, you'd love to be 3-1 going into conference play, at the very least 2-2. You need this one on Saturday.
We'll be back with more Red Menace TV.
It's a sweep. Cutting to the middle of the field in some room. A move at the 20 and all the way. Touchdown.
Cleveland tonight sputtered at times, but neat. When they got it going, just like right there. To the 5, touchdown Cleveland. Down in 10 here. Play action, looking, throws it out deep, has a man out there, ball is caught. To the 10, to the house, and just like that, the Cleveland Storm answer.
Johnson, and now it's sent back post, and that is dangerous. It's by everyone, and then it's headed in. And so a missed clearance.
They're going to give it. There goes Thompson trying to turn the corner and does. Thompson at the 15, 10, 5. Waiting for the call. Touchdown, Mayfield Trojans. Robertson will push it to Hobart on the far side. Tipped over the double block. Pancaked off the floor beautifully by Gonzalez Sanchez, and we're still going. Here's Hobart. She'll go over the double block. Lucero. Jones will send it to upset. Lucero will have to get it over. Robertson. She'll push it over the block. Save. The left-handed save there by Lucero. Here's Jones. She'll have a swing. Yes. McIntosh. Excuse me, at the front.
Stepping up in the pocket and moving, and now to the 5 and diving towards the end zone and in.
Hobart. Jones. She'll set Mack for the championship. Yes! 5 in a row. La Cueva is the city's best yet again.
Maybe not getting the reps he needed at quarterback. He's a wide open guy.
There's a big move by Rodriguez. Look out as he's
there.
down the sideline. A cut,
Trouble.
shot out of a cannon. Ivan Rodriguez, he's got all the speed. Can he break away inside the 10 to
And
the
he's gonna make
5
it.
and in? Touchdown.
Welcome back to Red Menace TV. Mike, real quick before we move to the NFL, I just kind of wanted to touch on this because it seems kind of confusing. I know. I guess California, they're trying to Fair Play to Pay Act, where the student athletes are able to sell their likeness or license themselves, their names and their likeness, and get paid basically to play college sports. It would only be in California because the NCAA is obviously against that. Do you have any thoughts on that, or not really? I know we just kind of talked a little bit about it.
As I told you in the break, I know very little about it.
Very little about it.
The NCAA is not going to allow the California schools to do that.
So would the schools then try to break off and form their own? I mean, there's enough. There's like 24 colleges, I think, in the state of California.
I can't imagine they would.
You don't think so?
No.
I just think it's kind of weird. I mean, it's such a weird. I mean, I see two parts. I see that obviously student athletes have bust, but I mean, how much is a college education worth? Now the argument will be, well, these guys go to college. Well, that's kind of the choice you make. You know what I mean? I know how much it costs to pay for college, and I'm in a small school in New Mexico. It's not cheap. So if you wanted to go to a
Did you just really compare yourself to a student athlete?
No. I'm talking about the cost.
Okay.
Only the cost. I know there's a value to a scholarship.
Sure.
Especially if you're getting food, if you're getting a place to stay. Now, it may not be a Trump hotel, but it's definitely, the dorm's got to be nice if you choose to stay there.
Do you know what you have that a student athlete doesn't have?
What's that?
That a D1 college
talent?
football or basketball player has?
Athletic talent?
That a D1 college football or basketball player doesn't have?
Athletic talent.
Well, besides that, the ability to go out and work around your school schedule. So you're right that there's a value to a scholarship.
Yeah.
I don't dispute that at all. But if you don't come from an affluent home where you have plenty of money, how are you supposed to go out and make money to take your girl out on a date?
And that's not my argument.
Or to eat.
Right, but if one
But that is part of the argument.
Yeah.
Because when you're talking about should or should not college athletes get paid, that's one of the arguments. Well, they can't go out and work like a regular student athlete.
Mm-hmm.
So how are they supposed to have money?
Obviously, the NCAA can't let it happen because if it's only in one state, they would have to make it blanket all across the country.
Exactly.
And so, and here's the other thing: schools like Texas, Notre Dame, USC, UCLA, those schools could probably absorb that. Most of the P5 schools could absorb that, but a school like New Mexico,
most of the P5 schools could not absorb that.
Okay, well there you go.
I think those
maybe
schools
the upper echelon of
those
the P5.
schools you just mentioned probably all could.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't think. Not picking on these schools, the Wake Forest, the Marylands, the Georgia Techs, the
Houston,
the Indianas, the Purdue's.
They would have a hard time.
Yeah, and I'm not even talking. You brought up Houston. I'm not even talking about like conference Houston. I'm just talking about middle of the pack Atlantic Coast Conference teams or SEC teams.
Right.
I don't know that Missouri could do that.
Good point.
And teams
Fair
like
enough.
that.
So it'll be interesting to see how that goes. I want to switch gears real quick to the NFL. Everyone's fighting for that first pick in the NFL draft. It seems more teams are going for that than they are for the Super Bowl.
Well, one on purpose. The others, like the Jets with their injuries and whatnot, they just can't help themselves. The Dolphins are certainly all in on their first pick, and they're dreadful. They're
terrible.
Just absolutely dreadful.
I mean, just awful. I think the Giants are dreadful.
But they're trying. They're just dreadful because they're no good.
Of the Giants.
Right. Again, the Dolphins have gone out of their way to be bad.
Washington's working that way, aren't they?
Yeah. They're not that good.
They're not that good.
No.
By the way, what happened to Joe Flacco? I mean, is he not? He's just done. He's definitely on the downside of his career. He got the big money at Baltimore.
Second game of the season. By the way, the Broncos should have won that game. I think they kind of got hosed.
With the Chubb?
With that, well, not just that, but with the timeout with 1 second left.
But there was time on the clock, and he was down.
Right, but you just let a random guy 50 yards downfield call the timeout.
I think that's allowed, though.
It was allowed.
I'm just saying.
Anyway.
Quick question on that game: would you have gone for the 2 instead of the 1? I mean, if you go for the 1, then I don't think the pressure to score is because you're tied, right? Would they have been tied? I don't think the pressure to go to march down the field in that 2-minute warning. I don't know. I could be wrong. I'm just curious. It was kind of an interesting call to do it, and then the way it all transpired is like holding, or what was it, offside or illegal motion, holding,
yeah,
and it's just like back and forth, and it's just kind of weird.
I'd have gone for the 1.
Would you?
Okay.
Well, you got a lot of guts. You're like the man. Maybe
actually the guts would have been going for 2.
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought you
Yeah.
said that's what you would
No.
have gone for.
The
You would've
one
gone for the
I'd
win.
have just kicked the extra point.
Yeah, that's what I would have done. I thought as well. So I was going to say, maybe Bob Davies should have you instead of Saga Tuiteli lead the Lobos.
Oh, no.
Get you out of the skybox up there and bring you down on the field wearing because you did wear that one red Lobo shirt that one day, or was it black? I can't remember. Maybe you could wear like the tie with the sweater. That would look cool.
Saga,
you on the sidelines would look good like that.
Saga Tuiteli has forgotten more about football than I'll ever know.
I know.
No, that would be a horrendous move.
But I mean, it'd just be like Xbox. It's like, okay, let's run this play. All right, I mean, I don't know what decisions he's making, but anyway, how about the glorious Dallas Cowboys?
2-0?
Dak Prescott's now they've played the lower end of the NFC East, so I'm not going to get too excited.
Well, hold on. There's not really much of an upper end of the NFC East other than the Cowboys.
Well, the Eagles are kind of there. I think they let one go against the Falcons. That was kind of an interesting game, as I thought they were going to roll that one. They did not. They almost lost to the Redskins too, didn't they? I mean, they jumped up and then.
Yeah, Washington was up 17-0, and then Philly woke up in week 1. And
yeah. So I don't know. I just saw that. Obviously, the Patriots are the Patriots. But, I mean, they haven't really,
they haven't played anybody either.
But, I mean, who is somebody anymore? I mean, there's like, how many really good teams are there?
The Patriots, the Cowboys, and the Chiefs.
Would you put the Rams in there?
I think I would have them about a half notch below.
Okay, fair enough. I mean, the Saints.
They could be there.
Drew Brees, I guess we don't know yet if his thumb is done.
He's going to have surgery. He'll miss about 6 weeks.
So you mentioned the Patriots. I mean, even if Antonio Brown, who now is 2 allegations, I believe, 2 different allegations of sexual offense. Where were these women a month ago or 2 weeks ago before he signed with the Patriots? It's kind of weird how all of a sudden he signs with the Patriots and all of a sudden we have 2 allegations come forth for situations that happen. I'm just saying, but even if they were to lose Antonio Brown, I mean, does that team miss a step?
No.
I mean, that's like the cherry on top, isn't it? And a little bit of whipped cream and sprinkles.
As long as Tom Brady stays healthy, the Patriots are still the Patriots. Now, if Brady goes down, you can have all the Antonio Browns you want, and it's not going to matter.
How about Garoppolo?
Garoppolo?
It's a hard name to pronounce. Kind of like Sharon.
Yes. What about Garoppolo?
I mean, they're 2-0, right? The 49, or did they lose the first game?
No, they're 2-0.
They're 2-0, and
talk about haven't played anybody, though. I don't know how. Look, certainly they're better than they were last year, and they were without Garoppolo most of the year. I don't know how good the 49ers are.
Okay. Any other thoughts on the NFL? Broncos are right there to 0-2, looking kind of like they don't know who they are. Their offense is kind of shaky. Defense, which used to be but they were playing the Bears, who have no offense also. Mitch Trubisky, what happened to that guy? Last year he seemed to be able to fling the ball like crazy. This year he seems kind of like lost.
The Bears won, right?
They did win.
Okay, just checking.
I'm just saying, I'm just talking about, it's not always just wins and losses. We're only in week 2.
Right.
So you kind of got to look at how the team's playing or how things are going. Like I said, last year he was able to flip the ball like crazy. I mean, has the rest of the NFL just caught up to Trubisky, or it's just quiet?
Well, he played 2 really good defenses in his first 2 weeks. The Packer defense is much improved. You even mentioned the Broncos defense. I mean, that plays a part in it.
Yeah.
I don't know that the NFL in the offseason, all the teams set out to catch up with Mitchell Trubisky.
Well, I mean, come on, that is a good defense. They were able to get into the playoffs, and there's a possibility that if he shows even half as good, they could be one of the contenders.
Sure.
There's no team that's superstar like, I mean, right now, far and above, but you mentioned an injury or something like that would derail any team.
Neither last year nor this year did or will the Bears depend on Mitchell Trubisky's arm to win a game.
Fair enough. All right, that's the end of the show. You will be at Dream Style Stadium for the Lobos versus the Aggies. Who wins?
Lobos.
I'm going to say the Lobos too, but it's going to be close. For Michael Carlisle, for Alden Iowani, I'm Leroy Lucero. We'll see you Friday night from Milne Stadium, El Dorado, Albuquerque High School. Until then, God bless you all.
Well, I'm going to the frontier, walk up to the cashier, order up a root beer and a number one. Cover it with green stuff, one scoop is not enough. Find a booth is real tough, back by the Duke. Meet my family, meet my friends in the quirkiest restaurant I have ever been. All of Albuquerque's favorite spot, it's the Frontier Restaurant.
The Frontier Restaurant is a proud supporter of ProView Sports Network.
The world-famous Laguna Burger is beautifully handcrafted. A burger that's created from certified Angus beef, sinfully cooked to juicy perfection, and garnished with New Mexico's Hatch green chili. Tempt your taste buds with mouth-watering fresh ingredients.
Cut! We're gonna need another Laguna Burger. Try the irresistible, world-famous Laguna Burger. Visit thelagunaburger.com. It's fresh with a kick. Take 32.
Get into the game with Garden Swartz Team Sales. They have everything you need, from screen printing, embroidery, and digital printing services, high school letterman jackets, and all high school and club uniforms and individual and team apparel with the most reliable brands like Speedline, Rawlins, and Wilson. And don't forget to check out the latest F7 Shut helmet. It's all at Garden Swartz Team Sales. Give them a call, 505-884-1234. Garden Swartz Team Sales.
Is this my car?
State Farm knows that for every one of those moments,
This is ridiculous!
there's one of these.
Is this my car? What? This is ridiculous.
This can't be happening!
This can't be happening.
Oh, it's happening, sweetheart.
Oh, it's happening, sweetheart.
Shut up!
Shut up!
That's why State Farm is there, with car insurance for when things go wrong, but also here with car loans to help life go right. State Farm.
Talk to State Farm agent Marty Size or Michelle Rudolph in Albuquerque today.
Sadie's is a proud supporter of New Mexico high school sports and athletics, and we here at ProView Networks would like to thank Sadie's for their continued support in helping us bring you all of your New Mexico high school sports coverage.
Car Crafters, proud supporter of ProView Sports Network.
Are you sure we're supposed to be doing this?
Don't worry, I've watched him do it 1,000 times. Come on, what's the worst that can happen?
No! Bad dog!
Hi, welcome to Car Crafters. What happened?
Don't worry, we'll make it like it never happened.
Car Crafters, it's like it never happened.
ABQ ER and Hospital is changing the way you see ER in Albuquerque. We promise to see each patient within 10 minutes of arrival. ABQ ER and Hospital is now offering $25 school physicals, with 100% of proceeds donated back to the schools.
What is glamour? Frailty. What is desire? Diamonds. They say a life lived without passion is hardly worth living.
Ma'am? Ma'am? Ma'am?
Dang, this one made me feel all special.
Folks, there's no other way but to be all in. Either he's Lord of all or he is not Lord at all. And you can experience the real and authentic, true life change that only God can provide to humanity. See, when we truly encounter Jesus and purpose to know him and follow his teachings, hashtag life change will occur.
Sadie's is a proud supporter of New Mexico high school sports and athletics, and we here at ProView Networks would like to thank Sadie's for their continued support in helping us bring you all of your New Mexico high school sports coverage.
Welcome to the place where we talk about people getting punched in the face. This is Cage Minds. I'm Micah Frankel. This is the second half of your morning power hour here on ProView Networks, following up the great job Red Menace did talking about everything Lobos. If you're not upset about the Giant loss this weekend, well, if you are, perfect time to talk about people getting punched in the face, right? And we got highlights like we always do. To get right to it, Alden, when you're ready, we can talk about what happened in the ring this weekend, starting off on DAZN. 2 title fights. Amanda Soriano defeats Heather Hardy by unanimous decision, winning the WBC and WBO women's featherweight titles. A decision, a fight that was a war. I mean, if you have DAZN and you didn't check out the bout, it's definitely a must-see. Go back. Heather Hardy's toughness on display. That means Soriano landed some big shots. Devin Haney defeats Zura Abdullaev by a referee stoppage, retaining the WBC interim lightweight title and maintaining his unbeaten record. Saturday night in Las Vegas, ESPN Plus, Emmanuel Navarrete defeats Juan Miguel Elordo by TKO, retaining his WBO junior weight title. That one then led up to the main event, heavyweight, lineal heavyweight title, that a belt that the WBC made for Tyson Fury on the line. Fury cut over his right eye, is able to overcome the adversity of that deficiency and defeat Otto Wallin by a unanimous decision. Following the victory in the post-fight interview, Fury admitted that his vision was compromised and that he couldn't see for quite a few of the rounds. I got to go off once again on fighter safety. The fight should have been stopped. It adds to the legend of Fury. Jaime Miguel versus Patrick Inouye was set for 12 rounds, does not go that way. Jaime Miguel gets the TKO victory, retaining his WBO junior middleweight title. That one's followed up by a women's title bout where you saw Frana Cruz-Dern defending her title, and it was a spectacular performance in retaining by unanimous decision, defeating short notice replacement Marcela Carneiro. It was a WBO, WBC super middleweight title bout. Right there, that one was also for you on DAZN from Carson, California, thanks to Golden Boy Promotions. That was what took place this weekend in the ring. We also had a couple things going on in the cage. We got 2 different highlight packages coming up. We'll start off Friday night with LFA. LFA 76 took place, the promotion's debut in Kansas. We'll start off in the welterweight division, where we're going to see Tyler Ingram running his record to 4-0, taking down Corey Davis and slipping in the rear naked choke for the second round finish. On a sad note, this is the last time LFA will be on Access TV. Access TV, merging with Anthem Sports, has announced they are out of the MMA game. Next up on the highlights, showing you Jacob Thrall jumping on a nasty guillotine here towards the end of the first round, submitting Eric Ellington. Ellington was a title challenger in his debut against Miles Johns, and now he's going to look to rebound from 2 losses in a row in that LFA cage. Again, the last time MMA on Access TV. Great event to go out with. Here was the highlight knockout of the night. Joaquin Buckley tagging Chris Harris with every shot he threw, finding the knockout just with a plethora of punches. Chris clean boxing, big hooks. 108 of the first round is the official time. We go up to the main event, the last live fight ever on Access TV. And I got to keep mentioning it because from XFC to LFA, MFC, RFA, covered a lot on Access TV. Nick Brown shocking the Kansas audience as the underdog is able to get the back of Trey Ogden and get the finish officially by rear naked choke, but it was more of the forearm across the jaw, the face crunch, more of a pressure hold than a blood choke, worried that you're going to pass out kind of submission. This was a, oh my God, my face is going to break kind of submission. Brown now moves to 9-1, the impressive victory. And when the news becomes official, because we do have LFA 77 next Friday night, where you can catch that event, we'll have the news at cageminds.com as soon as it becomes official and they let us know where the next streaming or television destination is for the top feeder to the UFC. Speaking of the UFC, the globalization of the sport continues. We haven't seen them here in America in a while, but they're back in North America, in Canada last weekend, and it was a wild one. We got some highlights there. Of course, the main event, Cowboy Cerrone, Justin Gaethje. I had expectations of this one being a fight of the year kind of candidate. It didn't even last that long. It was a 12-fight card. We have the full results up at cageminds.com just in case you're intrigued by the whole card. But let's start off with some finishes. The crispest, cleanest display of his striking acumen that we've ever seen. Louis Smolka, since moving up to 135 pounds, on this his second stint with the UFC, the kid is looking fire. Hands Ryan McDonald, the second loss. It's a TKO, big hooks, the overhand catching McDonald, 4:43 of the first round. The Hawaiian with a huge victory and now a 3-fight win streak. In the heavyweight division, Augusto Sakai in the featured prelim made short work of Marcin Tybura, a Polish fighter who had trained down here in Albuquerque at the Jackson Wink Academy previously. Sakai gets into that dirty boxing range, and with a single tie clinch, his left hand behind Tamura's head, he launched 2 uppercuts, then goes over the top with a plethora of overhands, the overhands connecting near the temple and finishing the Polish fighter. Top 15 middleweight matchup. Uriah Hall breaks Antonio Carlos Jr.'s nose early on with the right hand and is able to defend enough of the grappling situations from the black belt to maintain the fight on his feet, be able to let his hands go, bloodying up the Brazilian. And Uriah Hall now on a win streak. That was a big one for him to maintain that top 15 ranking and to show that he's still a viable threat. In the co-main event, it was a wild one, back and forth. I believed each guy could have had the finish at different points. I'm not sure how Nikita Krylov got out of one of the deepest rear naked chokes I've ever seen that Glover Teixeira slapped on. Most of the grappling sequences were won by Teixeira being able to gain the dominant position. His back takes were beautiful. And in the end, it's a split decision, giving Glover Teixeira a 3-fight win streak. Then we get up to the main event. He's a big local favorite here, Cowboy Cerrone, but it was not his night north of the border. They even loved him up there in Canada, calling him the Canadian Cowboy, but the dynamite hands of Justin Gaethje were too much. Leg kicks early, a big uppercut, face plant Cerrone. He hit his knees, face planting twice in the exchange, and then you get the brutal punches at the end. Justin Gaethje, that 3-fight win streak, 3 big stoppages of Cowboy Cerrone, Edson Barbosa, and James Vick. I believe that Gaethje is on the precipice of a title opportunity or maybe a big date with that certain guy that everybody loves. So that's what we got into this week. Well, that's what we got into last week. Now we get to look forward to what we're getting into this week. Not a huge weekend of action, but we got a lot of stuff to talk about. Starting tonight, UFC Fight Pass, Alaska FC 152 welterweight title fight. Tyler Minner, who has trained here at the Jackson Wink Academy, taking on Charlie Johnson, the champion, in the main event. It's going to be an 8-fight card in all to tune in, check out this evening as the week gets started with action. Saturday, UFC Fight Pass again has an event earlier in the afternoon. You get CFFC 78. There's your main event. Sean Santella defending his 125-pound belt versus Blaine Shutt. It's one of 4 title fights. Featherweight, welterweight, middleweight, flyweight is the main event. The 125ers getting a big showcase. 4 title fights, again, in all on that Fight Pass card. How about some boxing, getting in the ring? Fox Sports 1 or Fox Deportes, if you will. Saturday night has Peter Quillen, who's 34, 1-1, 23 knockouts, versus Alfredo Angulo, 25-7, 21 of those wins by knockout. That is your Premier Boxing Championships event. Then Saturday night, ESPN Plus, the UFC, still kicking it with that global theme, but still in North America. We're south of the border in Mexico. Going to be a great one. You got a top light heavyweight prospect bout. Vinicius Castro, 8 of his 9 wins by submission, takes on Scotland's Paul Craig, who has 10 of his 11 wins by submission. Jose Quinones, representing Mexico, who's won 4 of his last 5 fights, takes on Carlos Huon, who has all 10 of his victories by stoppage, 8 knockouts, 2 submissions. You also get the return of LFA flyweight champion, former tough competitor Brandon Moreno, coming back to the UFC. Co-main event is a top 15 women's strawweight battle. Number 8 ranked former UFC, former Invicta FC strawweight champion Cookie Monster Carla Esparza takes on the number 9 ranked Alexa Grasso, representing Mexico, coming off of the huge dominant unanimous decision victory over former title challenger Karolina Kowalkiewicz. That's your co-main event, all leading up to what is going to be phenomenally nuts, back and forth striking affair in the main event. El Pantera Yair Rodriguez, the former tough winner, number 7 ranked featherweight, taking on number 8 ranked featherweight. The little heathen Jeremy Stevens has 19 of his 28 wins by knockout, throws everything looking to put you asleep. Yair Rodriguez with his weird elbow knockout of Chan Jung Sung at the UFC 25th anniversary event. Knockout of the year material last time we saw him in action. It's a must-see main event on UFC Fight Pass, UFC Fight Night 159. And we still got stuff to talk about on the local calendar. Real quick hit that. September 28th, Southwest MMA Series 29 is taking place. 3 pro fights on the card. Isaiah Reyes, Jesse Tafoya, part of that. Jalen Fuller, Kamoy Anderson. Full card up at cageminds.com, along with interviews from Kamoy, Jesse, Ali, Omar, an update on who his opponent will be for this fight card, and then moving on to also talk about what's happening September 28th in Clovis. Force of One Fighting Championships, number 7, Nicholas Webb takes on Nico Nathan in the feature fight. The rest of the contest will be amateur bouts. Same night, Hobbs, New Mexico. It's a triple threat of a treat where you get boxing, MMA, and kickboxing all at one event. Thanks to Isidro Castillo and School of Hard Knocks Promotions, keeping combat sports alive in the southern part of the state. And a new one to announce to you guys, a 3-day affair in Deming, New Mexico. Johnny Tapia Promotions presents Southwest Explosion. October 4th, we're having weigh-ins and a meet and greet. On the 5th, important time for this young man making the. Then on the 6th, you're going to have an amateur invitational. We will have an interview and some comments from Chris Rojas when we come back from these commercials. There'll be more Cage Minds in just a moment.
Well, I'm going to the frontier, walking to the cashier, order up a root beer and a number 1. Cover it with green stuff, 1 scoop is not enough. Find a booth is real tough, back by the Duke. Meet my family, meet my friends in the quirkiest restaurant I have ever been. All of Albuquerque's favorite spot, it's the Frontier Restaurant.
The Frontier Restaurant is a proud supporter of ProView Sports Network.
The world-famous Laguna Burger is beautifully handcrafted. A burger that's created from certified Angus beef, sinfully cooked to juicy perfection, and garnished with New Mexico's Hatch green chili. Tempt your taste buds with mouth-watering fresh ingredients.
Cut! We're gonna need another Laguna Burger. Try the irresistible, world-famous Laguna Burger. Visit thelagunaburger.com. It's fresh with a kick. Take 32.
And we're back. And I bet you guys can guess what's coming up next. Recently, I went over to the Jackson Wink Academy and got to talk to Chris Rojas. September 28th, he's traveling to Kansas City Fighting Alliance to make his professional debut after having more than 10 amateur mixed martial arts fights. So let's throw it to a clip of that interview. Important time for this young man, making the transition from the amateur ranks to the professionals. I know you're beaming with excitement.
Yeah, that's right, man. This is my first professional fight. Had 10 amateur fights, so I'm really ready to make this pro debut. It's been a long time coming.
That was 10 amateur MMA bouts?
Yes.
And then did you do any smokers, any kickboxing bouts with that mixed in?
4 kickboxing bouts and 1 boxing bout. I'm actually coming off my most recent fight is my first boxing fight in July.
So how do you feel now? Can you remember how you felt first getting on these mats, coming in here? How do you feel now as a martial artist?
I feel a lot more complete, a lot more well-rounded everywhere as a wrestler, striker, grappler. Everywhere the fight goes, I feel comfortable. So no matter what's going to happen in this fight, I'm going to be ready for whatever this guy brings to the table.
In September 28th, going out to Kansas City, talk to me about what the process was finding this first professional bout.
It was actually a tough one. I got 2 offers and 2 guys turned me down, and then the third one they asked if I wanted to fight the guy I'm fighting now, and we both agreed, and that was it.
Hitting the road, you've done that as an amateur. You think it's going to feel different being that villain, that on the road guy, different as your pro debut?
Oh no, man, I've been a villain, way bigger villain out in Las Vegas. So this is going to be nothing. There's not really no bad blood, no beef. I don't even know the guy I'm fighting really, besides like watching film on him.
And what have you learned?
He's a wrestler, likes to throw a lot of wide overhands and hooks, leaping hooks.
Not much unlike yourself.
Yeah, I have a lot more variety of skills and talent set, if you will.
Seth the Beta told me after that last amateur fight, man, we've been begging Chris for years to commit to that left hand. You did it. You scored the knockout. It was a clean knockout. What did that mean to you?
It meant the world for me just because I knew for myself that I could make that happen and I could knock anybody out that I just like really commit to, and like anybody I commit my shots to, I feel like I can hurt. So, and if I do that in this fight, it's going to be the same result.
What kind of process was that? Now, it's taken a few years, as Coach mentioned. What kind of process was that like for you, getting the confidence to really commit to that, to not just jab or hook with your forward hand and shoot for the takedown, but to commit to the power hand?
Something just clicked in my mind. You just got to bite down on that mouthpiece, commit to your shot.
And how important is the mitt work? We've seen you with a plethora of coaches, and I know you've put a lot of work in those hands. How important has those training sessions been?
Oh, they've been crucial, man. I put a lot of work the past year into my striking. I put about as much work in as like some pros put in like about 3 years, 4 years, just in the past year alone, just to get to my striking to where it is right now.
And you mentioned Las Vegas. You fought for real MMA quite a bit through this amateur run. What did that travel experience, those bright lights, that Vegas atmosphere do for you to prepare you for what will be ahead of you as a professional?
It was crucial, man. I fought on that card for my second title fight, and it was more pressure than most pros would face in their professional career. So this is just another fight to me, you know. I'm going to go in there, go get the win, secure the bag.
I'm telling you guys, September 28th, there's a ton of combat sports going on, including the UFC continuing their globalization, that global expansion, heading over to Denmark, Copenhagen. So to talk about that event, because we do have a local fighter participating, I went over to Jackson's Acoma to catch up with Landon Venata. Let's go to a clip of that interview. But you're going to go out to Copenhagen, taking on Marky Casey, UFC Fight Night. So give us some thoughts on the matchup, on the fight.
I mean, I'm pretty stoked about it, you know. He's another great martial artist, very explosive, very dangerous fighter, good stand-up guy. You know, we've watched a lot of tape. We prepared very well. I'm in amazing shape right now. My technique is solid, offensively, defensively, on the feet, on the ground, everything in between, and I just feel ready to go.
Not even specifically Mark, but just with how many bodies there are in the lightweight division, are you, when you're watching guys and watching fights, are you thinking about taking on each kind of competitor, or is there so many guys you wait till there's a name before you're focusing on.
I try to watch most of the lightweight fights. Man. Like, I really enjoy watching people in my division and seeing like mentally stacking myself up comparatively towards them.
And talking about that, what have you seen that you feel you need to do to get to that top level? Get back to those big fights that we saw you in.
Just keep doing what I'm doing, man. Keep doing what I'm doing. You know, my skill set's where it needs to be. I had to take a lot of hard losses, go through some adversity to get where I'm at now, and I feel very confident in my skill set at the moment. I'm just gonna go out there and get a couple wins.
How nice was it to get a finish after, was that 4 or 5 in a row that were very close decisions? So was it nice to just get a finish and all?
Yeah, man, it's great. It's great to go out there, get a finish, not take any damage. You know, first round finish, dominant performance, and yeah, it was awesome. That's what we all train for. That's what we all like to see. We're all ready for war. We don't like going to war. We like going in there and being dominant.
What was that like though? Because you did go to war, like you said, 4 times in a row. What does that do as a martial artist for you?
It just teaches you a lot of lessons. You know, those wars, man. It's like how to put this. It's like being thrown into a ton of adversity at once and then having to grow a lot from that. You learn a lot from that.
In that same note, because those fights were so close, is it hard to dissect areas in there where you're like, man, maybe I did, but there's draws, there's stuff like that where it's not like a full blown out loss where you can look at a lot of things to work at, I feel, when it's a close decision. Or is there?
Yeah, there's always, man. Even off wins, there's still a lot of things. But yeah, even off those draws, yeah, there's a lot, man. Like the Bobby Green fight, great lesson. Don't fucking take your foot off the pedal in the last 10 seconds of the third round. Because I got rocked in the last 10 seconds of the third round. Lost the third round. There's always things to do.
Check out the full interviews with Chris Rojas and Landon Venata. Keep up with Cage Minds. Go to the website. Go to the Facebook page. Keep up with us. You'll see the full interviews in their entirety. Couple news and notes to throw at you guys. Jackson Wink, light heavyweight prospect. Christian Edwards will be back in action against Cesar Gutierrez at Bellator 233. Skip back an event at Bellator 232. You're going to see Pat Mix, unbeaten former King of the Cage champion, back in action against Dominic Mizzato. You'll also see the promotional debut of former Glory Kickboxing champion, lightweight and featherweight champion Roman van Roosmalen as he transitions from kickboxing over to MMA full-time, 2-0 already in the sport. Former UFC welterweight champion Robbie Lawler is currently ranked number 13, and he'll be in action in Las Vegas December 14th at UFC 245, taking on number 8 ranked Santiago Ponzinibbio. No main event for that card announced yet. Couple local news and notes. Aaron Martinez from Santa Fe, Holmes Boxing, and Legacy Boxing Promotions' very own Angel Baby Aaron Perez are both going to be competing on the Showbox card this weekend on Showtime, September 20th in Midland, Texas. The return of Jason Sanchez to the ring will happen on Top Rank Boxing, a ESPN Plus card on October 20th. One more UFC note for everybody. The donation for Khabib Nurmagomedov to Dustin Poirier's foundation has reached 6 figures, $100,000 for the shirt that he wore and gave away, trying to do a good humanitarian act following the fight, showing that there's still a more focus from these fighters than just about how much money they're making, trying to do good, trying to add clean water to Africa. I mean, check out the Dustin Poirier Foundation. Something great going on there. Local news and notes to let you follow up on. You can expect more Legacy Boxing promotions on November 9th. And I believe that Holmes Boxing has something in the works for October 16th. Keep up with CageMinds.com for all the news and notes. It was a great show. Thanks for watching Red Minds, Cage Minds, Power Hour. You guys have a good day. I think I ended like a couple.
Don't sacrifice quality of flavor when you're in a hurry. Golden Pride offers ribs, fried chicken, green and red chili breakfast burritos, and Frontier Cinnabons. 4 great locations, or visit us online at Golden Pride at ABQ